In today's video, we're going to break down the 28-point lead the Knicks blew last night versus the Brooklyn Nets. But first, like this video if you want Jeff Van Gundy to be the Knicks coach again. Just hearing him talk about the Knicks last night on the ESPN broadcast and then on the radio show with Alan Hahn yesterday, I would just love to see him coaching this team yet again. So if you want that to happen, if you want Jeff Van Gundy to be the Knicks' next head coach, like this video. Welcome into New York Knicks Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green, and in today's video, we're going to talk about the latest Tom Thibodeau rumors. Ian Begley, he put out a report that kind of puts in the question of the future for Tom Thibodeau. But first, let's break down the epic 28-point lead the Knicks blew last night versus the Brooklyn Nets. They had a 28-point lead midway through the second quarter, then an 18-point lead to start the fourth quarter, and yet again, the Knicks find a new way to blow a double-digit late game lead. And at this time, it's just unbelievable the ways that the Knicks can find ways and new ways to lose games. I mean, who would have thought that Cam Thomas would hit the dagger step-back 30-foot tray ball to put the Knicks in the grave? This one was ugly, and it got ugly in the fourth quarter. 21 points for Cam Thomas. Seth Curry, he dropped 20. And LaMarcus Aldridge was hooping back like it was 2014, and he was with the Trailblazers. He scored 18 points and had 10 rebounds. Julius Randle, he had a solid game, 31 points, 10 rebounds, but yet again, it does not equal a win. Emmanuel quickly had his best game in months. We'll show you his stats over the last 16 games. They are ugly. And Evan Fournier, he continues to be a solid player for the Knicks in the new league year. But I want to hear from you guys. Get in the comment section. Be vocal. Get it off your chest. This is a safe space for all New York Knicks fans. I'm one. I have some pretty choice words to say, but I had to keep it PG for the show. I'll give you my one-word reaction in a second, but I want to hear yours in the comment section right now. Get down there. Be loud. Let me know. What is your one-word reaction to the Knicks' loss last night? Mine is again. My one-word reaction is again because it's just again, and again. The Knicks find new ways to lose every single night. I think this is the first time in any sport that I've watched a team's new loss is their worst loss of the season. Every new loss that the Knicks have is the worst loss of the season. I didn't think it could get worse than the Los Angeles Lakers loss they had back on the 5th of this month when they were up 21 points, and they lost that game. Then they lost a 12-point lead against the Jazz late in the third quarter. Then they blew a 23-point lead against the Portland Trailblazers. It didn't feel like it could get worse than that. Then Josh Giddey and Trey Mann, the rookies for the Oklahoma City Thunder, go off, and they beat the New York Knicks at home in a game where Shai Gilgeous-Alexander doesn't play. And I was like, no way. It can't ever get worse than that. And then here come the Knicks crawling and knocking at the door, blow a 28-point lead to the Brooklyn Nets without Kyrie Irving, without Kevin Durant, and without Ben Simmons. You can't make this stuff up. And yet again, the Knicks find new ways to lose. And it's always, the next loss is always the worst loss for the New York Knicks. But Ian Begley, he put out a report this morning about Tom Thibodeau. And I think it's pretty telling, and this is what he had to say. This is what we know. Even before the brutal loss to the Nets, confidence in Thibodeau had diminished among some people of influence at Madison Square Garden. The Knicks have been inconsistent in all aspects of the game except blowing double-digit leads. Ouch, that hurts. They've looked nothing like the team that earned the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference last season. How much of that is the head coach's fault? Thibs right now is feeling the pressure. The Knicks in the past 16 games have been absolutely brutal. They're 3-13 in that stretch, and injuries have hurt. The Rose injury, the R.J. Barrett injury, Nerlens Noel being in and out of the lineup. But at the end of the day, you got to get the most out of your team. And how many times have we seen this season? It just feels like there's a lot of basketball and a lot of points left on the floor when it comes to the fourth quarter offense for the New York Knicks. And this is my thoughts on Thibs. He's a guy that's supposed to preach defense, be able to teach defense, and get the absolute most out of energy, heart, and want to out of players. And that just seems like he doesn't get that out of this New York Knicks team like they did last year. So be honest with me. Do you think the Knicks should fire Tom Thibodeau? Maybe not right now. Maybe not after the All-Star game. Maybe it's after the season. Maybe they have a new guy holding the clipboard on the hardwood next year. But let me know. Do you think the Knicks should fire Tom Thibodeau? Type KT for FT for fire Thibs or KT for keep Thibs. The Knicks in their last 16 games are 3-13. They at one point were in contention for the 8th or the 7th spot in the Eastern Conference. Now they sit at the 12th spot, looking in on the play-in tourney. I don't even think it is even a goal or should be a goal for the Knicks to make the play-in tourney, because I think that would provide a false sense of hope. And I understand the Derrick Rose injury and the R.J. Barrett injuries hurt. Barrett's, he's missed the last 4 games. Rose, he's been out for 2 months. And this team really turned around when Tom Thibodeau and Leon Rose traded for Derrick Rose last year. He injected some life into this team, got this team back on track. So missing Rose is a big deal. But are you really going to pin the faith and the hope of this team to a 33-year-old Derrick Rose? That is unfortunate, and that kind of tells the story of where this New York Knicks roster sit. Tom Thibodeau, he had some hard questions to answer following the 28-point blown lead last night versus the Brooklyn Nets. And this is what he had to say. Everything's on the table now. It has to be. And it's not to be merit-based. I'm not going to give minutes just to give minutes. So that's not happening. You earn what you get. If a guy is playing good, he plays. If the team is functioning well when he's on the floor, he should play. That's the most important thing. The team has to come first for everyone. This can't be about what's best for any one individual. It's what's best for the group. I want to go back to this quote right here. If a guy is playing good, he plays. Well, Tom Thibodeau, take a look at these stats. In the last 16 games, Alec Burks, Emmanuel Quickley, and Kemba Walker have been absolutely terrible, averaging 8 points for Alec Burks, 7 points for Emmanuel Quickley, and 8 points for Kemba Walker. But it gets worse. Their field goal percentage, all under 40%. 33 for Alec Burks, 31 for Emmanuel Quickley, and 37 for Kemba Walker. Then I can't even believe it. It gets worse from 3. 30% for Alec Burks from 3, 27% from Emmanuel Quickley from 3, and 27% from Kemba Walker. If you truly believe that, Tom, and you want people to believe that the good players, and if you're producing, and if the team is producing when you're on the court, you're going to play, then why does Alec Burks continue to get fourth quarter minutes? Why does Kemba Walker continue to start games? These are questions that need answers, and I'm going to the comment section to get a name from you guys. Who should start for the Knicks at point guard? Because we tried Alec Burks. It didn't work. We tried Emmanuel Quickley. It was okay for some games. Last night against the Nets, he played pretty well. Missed a big shot late, but he played well. Hopefully that can get him back on track coming out of the All-Star break. And it hasn't worked with Kemba Walker, so I think we got to look to a new name. I'll give you my vote in just a quick second, but I want to hear yours in the comment section. Who should be the Knicks starting point guard? When the Knicks make a change, or maybe they win a game, we'll be breaking it down on this channel, because that's what we do. We react to news, rumors. Ian Begley, who put out that bombshell report that people inside the building aren't trusting Tom Thibodeau, so we broke it down on today's show. We're a one-stop shop for Knicks news and rumors here on YouTube. So if you love the Knicks and you're looking for a channel to watch more Knicks news and rumors video, this is your place. Go and hit that big red button. And why not give Miles McBride minutes? We just showed you the stats for the guards in this Knicks team that have struggled, shooting less than 35% from the field and 30% from 3. Miles McBride, he is absolutely tearing it up in the G League. And I understand, Marshall, it's the G League. That's not good competition, and I understand that. So take these numbers with a grain of salt. But in 8 games, he's averaging 28 points per game, 6 rebounds, 9.5 assists, and shooting 46.5% from the field. Deuce McBride is on pace to become the first G League player ever to average more than 25 points, 9 assists, and 2 steals per game over an entire series. And I understand that's the G League. Maybe you don't want to hear about that. What about when he played 35 minutes against the Houston Rockets back in December? This was the only game of Deuce McBride's rookie season with the Knicks that he has played more than 25 minutes, and he produced. I understand it's versus the low-life Rockets, but 15 points, 9 assists, 4 steals, and he shot over 50% from the field. And it's not just Miles McBride. It's time to play Miles, Obi, Grimes, and Jericho. Start the youth movement. I know when you bench vets like you did earlier in the season, Tom Thibodeau, when it came to Kemba Walker, it put a divide in this locker room. But the season's lost. Don't compete to get into the play-in tournament. You don't want that false hope around this organization. They need to realize how far they are away from being a respectable team. So see what you have in Miles, Obi, Grimes, and Jericho. Give them minutes. Let them grow as players. And let's see what they can do and inject some life back into this New York Knicks team. But be the coach. Be Tom Thibodeau for me when he answer this question. Should the Knicks play Miles McBride? If you think they should, type P for play, or if not, go down in the comments section and type G for he should stay in the G League. And if you made it this far in the video, I want to thank you guys for watching, and I want to ask you to subscribe. We're trying to grow our coverage here, and the rule here at Chat Sports is more subs equals more videos. So if we want to get to daily videos here on Knicks Now, we need more subscribers. So I want to thank everybody that's hit that big red button. And if this is your first time watching and you're hitting that button, I want to thank you very much. And hit me up on Twitter. I'm tweeting about the Knicks all day, every day. I bleed Knicks blue and orange. And I was on my deathbed watching the Knicks blow that 28-point lead last night. I was live tweeting throughout it. So if you're looking for a new follow on Twitter that tweets about the Knicks, I'm your guy. Hit me up at @MarshallGreen_.